We usually think of political art as a tool for punching up, a way for the public to talk back to power. But to find where that conversation started, we have to look at how we first defined the social order. 40,000 years ago, humanity turned to the wall as its very first canvas for organization. Long before we had the vocabulary to debate policy, we used images to map our place in the world. These large-scale murals were an early attempt to visually categorize reality. By placing this bull on the specific section of rock, groups established a framework for their cosmology. The internal dots tracked hunting tallies and the rituals that kept the tribe together. The cave wall functioned as the original public square. It proves that the human drive to visually define our social structure is as old as our species. As small tribes grew into massive empires, those physical walls became high-stakes territory. Whoever controlled the wall controlled the story of the civilization. Leaders manipulated public perception through erasure. After Hatshepsut died, her successor ordered her statues defaced, physically hacking away her face to delete her legacy. But top-down control of the narrative eventually invited pushback from the bottom up. Ordinary citizens, locked out of official channels, began using the walls to talk back. In 1st century Pompeii, citizens bypassed the authorities by carving their own messages into the city stone. These crude lines of red Latin text mocked local candidates and challenged official slogans, marking the birth of unauthorized public dissent. Because the wall is public, it remains the ultimate prize. When the authorities took total control over it, dissenters were forced to find new, hidden spaces to survive. By the Middle Ages, the price for public dissent had become too high. Questioning the church or the nobility in the street was an invitation to execution. Political art did not disappear. It retreated into the only place the authorities weren't looking, the margin. Monks copying sacred texts snuck subversive doodles into manuscript borders, creating a private world to mock the social order. These babywins, grotesque hybrid creatures, were coded critiques. Placed next to Holy Scripture, scribes highlighted clergy corruption in a language only they could decode. By the Renaissance, coded mockery shifted toward exaggeration. Leonardo da Vinci's sketches abandoned realism for distorted, grotesque features, providing the blueprint for modern caricature. These drawings weren't for the masses. They were circulated in private among artists and intellectuals, functioning as high society inside jokes that kept the spirit of critique alive. When public dissent is outlawed, the art of the margin becomes a survival strategy, a veiled language that ensures power is never completely beyond reproach. The printing press turned the production of imagery into a rapid, mechanical process, shifting the canvas from the hidden margin to the mass-produced page. For the first time, a single image could reach thousands of people at once. 18th century artists used this new reach to expose social inequality. In Gin Lane, William Hogarth packed his frame with specific details of urban despair, forcing the public to look at the consequences of government policy. Satirists like James Gillray targeted global figures directly. In this print, Napoleon and William Pitt are stripped of their dignity, shown as gluttons using swords and forks to carve up the globe like a dinner pudding. By the time Benjamin Franklin published a woodcut of a snake severed into 8 pieces, political art had become a tool for direct advocacy. The imagery provided a clear, urgent demand for the American colonies to unite. Mass-distributed caricatures eventually gained the power to dismantle corrupt political machines. Thomas Nast famously attacked Boss Tweed by replacing the politician's head with a bag of money, a symbol of greed so potent it helped bring down the Tammany Hall machine. The page transformed visual art into a mass-produced weapon, one that could focus public anger and dictate political consequences. In our current era, the canvas has expanded out of the press and moved back onto the public wall. Modern street artists bypass galleries and gatekeepers to put their messages directly in the path of the public. They use the city itself to broadcast ideas that the official narrative tries to ignore. And then there is the pixel. The digital meme moves at the speed of a click, allowing anyone with a screen to participate in the conversation. It is a world where political mockery is immediate and accessible to everyone. Visual satire is our shared language for cutting power down to size. From the cave to the smartphone, we will always find a wall, find a printed page, or a glowing pixel to remind those in charge exactly where we draw the line.